This is PDF Inspector, an open source tool from Firecrawl that can process PDFs without waiting on OCR by classifying and extracting native text, tables, code blocks, and much more locally on your machine, and it's super fast, processing 200 PDFs in under 3 seconds. Perfect for coding agents like Claude Code if you need to go through thousands of documents. And if you like these kind of videos, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, it really does help. A lot of PDFs people send to OCR services don't actually need OCR. The text is already selectable in the file, but pipelines just don't check for this, meaning you're waiting and paying for work that's already been done. This is why we built PDF Inspector, an open source Rust-based tool that smartly classifies mixed PDFs in under a second and gets one of the fastest times on the Open Data Loader benchmark. But what exactly makes it so fast? So if I click here to grab a PDF, we'll use this one, which I believe has 24 pages that include some images, some tables, and lots of text. If I open it, we can see it parses the whole thing in 185 milliseconds, and that includes all the information from lists to formatted tables, bullet points, and so on in all 24 pages. And we can get that same speed if we use the CLI in a coding agent or when using the language-specific SDKs. And this speed is because of 4 things that I'm going to explain using this diagram. First of all, it parses the document, so it reads the bytes and turns the document into a navigatable object graph or content stream. Then after that, it classifies the information, which in my opinion is the most interesting step. Take a look at this. So what it does is it goes through the content stream to find out what is actually real text and what is not. And it does this by looking at signals like how much of the page is taken up by images, if a font can be decoded into characters, and a few other things. But it never actually reads the text. And this is because a PDF is a document for printing. So it just tells you the shape that's being drawn. This classification step is what actually goes through what is recoverable and what is not recoverable. But it only does this in 8 pages. So if you have a 400-page document, it does this on the first page, the last page, and 6 pages spaced evenly through the middle to figure out the document type. It does this first to figure out if it needs to go through the pages. So if we go back to this document, if after going through all the 8 pages, it sees a mix of text and images, it gives it a PDF type of mixed, which goes through every single page. We'll see that in a second. If it goes through all the 8 pages and finds out it's scanned or image-based, then it doesn't need to go through all the pages. Finally, if it goes through the 8 pages and finds text, it classifies the document as text-based, which is what we got from the document I scanned earlier, meaning it doesn't need to go through each page and can extract the text. But let's say the document that we're going through in this example is mixed. Then it needs to go through every single page, and it ends up with a struct like this, containing the PDF type, the amount of pages, which pages had text, and which pages need OCR. So after this step, it goes through and then extracts the extractable information, which it does by decoding each glyph into characters. So a glyph is the vector representation of text, and recording exactly where each glyph sits on the page. The next step after that is layout and tables. So a content stream doesn't contain the full layout of the document, so columns, any lines, any tables, if it's right to left, and so on. And this is the stage that kind of reorders the text and figures out the intended reading order before converting everything into clean, structured markdown, which is ready for any AI agent to read. So no AI models are used at all. It's written in Rust. It happens locally on your machine. Classification is really quick. And all of this and more is what contributes to making the whole process really fast. So that's a quick run through of how PDF Inspector works, and it seems people really seem to like it. But what if you want to parse documents that aren't PDFs, or you have images in your PDFs that need OCR? Well, this is where Firecrawl's parse endpoint comes in handy, because behind the scenes it uses PDF Inspector, and for pages that need OCR, they get sent to a vision model that turns images into text where applicable. And for documents that aren't PDFs, we've also released AnyDoc, a Rust powered open source tool that can turn most documents, so Excel, Word, RTFs and more, into clean markdown for LLMs, and that is also part of the parse endpoint, which you can learn all about in the next video.